to the Dignity Dialogue with your host, Joe Kittinger.
Welcome to another Dignity Dialogue. I am Joe Kittinger, and of course, my co-host April Johnson couldn't join me today, though she would love to meet our next guest. Our next guest for this month is Kara Valentine, and Kara has done some exceptional things. She's doing exceptional things in the world to make a true impact, targeting women and all different wonderful walks of women. You know, as I've learned to meet her and understand what Kara does. And Kara, why don't you introduce yourself? You're with Threads Worldwide, and you could just give a little synopsis of what is Threads Worldwide, and then we're going to get into some dialogue together around dignity.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. Very excited to be here talking to you, Joe, and hello to everyone. I am Kara Valentine. I am living in Golden, Colorado, right outside of Denver. I'm the mom of two amazing daughters, Avery and Bryn. And I launched a company called Threads Worldwide with my two best friends in the whole wide world. And we partner with women in 8 emerging countries around the world who make beautiful handmade products, jewelry, handbags, home goods, gift market products. And then we partner these women with women here in the US who are creating this global marketplace for these beautiful products, who are also earning money and sharing all of these powerful stories of the impact that we make all around the world.
I mean, that's crazy. Now, obviously, folks, Kara and I have connected before this just so we can get to know each other. But I think what's most extraordinary, Kara, about you and your besties is your ordinary folks. You know, I'm getting to know you. There's no arrogance in you. There's no pomp and circumstances. You're just an ordinary, red-blooded American wanting to make a difference, seeing a need in the world and doing extraordinary things. How did this idea of helping these folks come to be?
Well, let's see. So we launched the company in 2011, but I'm going to go back a little bit further. I met my best friend Angela on the volleyball court at Tufts University outside of Boston, and it was just one of those relationships. We met and we're just connected at the hip ever since, soul sisters. And we graduated from college. We started traveling. We did a cross-country trip, and we just realized that, number one, we wanted to do everything together. Number two, we loved learning about new people and new cultures. And it's so interesting looking back and what felt like new culture going to, the South and the West Coast. That's really shifted as we've traveled more, but, and we love the adventure of it. We love meeting new people. So we settled down in Colorado. We did what we thought we were supposed to do and got out into the workforce. And then we really started traveling around the world, and we saw extreme poverty up close. We saw how people were living. We saw the extraordinary talent of women specifically who would make beautiful things and then sell them for pennies on the dollar because all they had was tourists who were coming to visit. So that was just something that really struck a chord for us. And at the time it was, okay, what can we possibly do? We're ordinary people with no extraordinary talents or anything. So anyway, we let that settle. And in 2011, I had a 2-year-old daughter at home, and I was pregnant with my second daughter, and she came very, very early. She was very sick. She was not supposed to survive. The doctors told us to prepare to lose her. And because we had the resources to have the best doctors in the world, some of the best doctors in the world, and also what I consider to be a bit of a miracle, because even those doctors were saying she wasn't going to survive. I took her home after, just over 3 months in the NICU, and I was leaving the hospital just very confused, very grateful, but also having that existential why me? Why us? Why did she survive? Knowing had she been born in any of the countries that we had visited, no chance.
Right.
And so anyway, I took her home, and I just had that knowing. Well, a few months later, my best friend came up to me. Now, where I was in my life at that time was, now I had a whopping 4.5 pound baby. When Bryn was born, she was the size of a dollar bill.
Wow.
So she was 4.5 pounds. She was on oxygen. I was working 2 jobs from home with specialists coming in and out, not eating or sleeping. And that's when Angela, my best friend, came up to me and said, I realize this is literally the worst time in your life to bring this up. But guess what? I know what we're supposed to do together. And now Angela had really, while I was having babies, she was really starting to educate herself and research. And something that was really hitting her hard was just the fact that human trafficking, sexual trafficking existed, to the point where she wouldn't be able to sleep at night. So in her research, she learned that the best way to combat trafficking, poverty, all of these systemic suffering things is to invest in women, because women reinvest 90% of their income back into their families and their communities, versus men, Joe, you not included, of course, which is about 50%. So
that does make sense, though, because I just think of my own lovely wife, Danica, right? She's buying the clothes for the family. She's just aware, she's more of a caretaker in general, thoughtful. And I guess I am much more self-centered than she is. I just am. I mean, she's just beautifully built to want to serve and help. And so I have to make a conscious effort, but I can totally see that to be the truth.
Yeah. And it is, I mean, it's zillions of years in the making.
Yeah, exactly.
Women are born more inherently caretaking and collaborative and inclusive and wanting to do things to make things better for, the community. So
Right.
She learned all of this. And then she said, okay, so what we're going to do is, I said, this is going to be great. I can't wait to hear what you think we're going to do about this. She said, what if we import these products and then we create a social selling channel here in the US, creating global connection and global empowerment. And I said, well, that's adorable. Except I'm like, that's so cute, but we have literally no experience in any of those things.
Isn't that amazing?
Like no international development, retail, social selling. I was like, I have heard of it. And we were volleyball players. I'm like, you want me to start a fashion company? None of this makes sense. And I will tell you what happened, Joe, and this is something that I really have learned to trust and rely on, is I got chills all over my body. And what hit me was, here I was given this miracle, and, my daughter survived because I had access to resources. And now I have the opportunity to pour my heart and my soul and my passion and my resources and my gifts and my talents into creating opportunity for women who may not otherwise have it. So it was one of those things that once it hit me, and it was in the moment, within 3 minutes, I was in. So That's how it started. And it was, one little tiny step / mistake at a time. And like I said, now we're partnered with women in 8 countries. We have about 80 women around the US who are working with us and Threads, really creating this system.
And the website is threadsworldwide.com. Is that
threadsworldwide.com.
Okay.
Got it.
And so that's where people go to look at all the products that these amazing women are making?
Yes, they can see all the beautiful products, and please go check them out. I feel like people have an idea of what handmade pieces will or can look like. And something that was really important to us when we started the company was we want women to be drawn to these products. I keep saying women because that's what we're focused on. And we have products that are gender neutral as well.
Sure.
So I want to be clear about that. But it was important to us that people would want to go and purchase these products because they loved them, and then be extra inspired because of the impact it makes.
Yeah.
So they're gorgeous. And I will also say, throughout this conversation, if you hear yourself in it at all, if you're interested in connecting with us, we're always looking for more women here in the US to partner with us.
And so when you partner with the women in the U.S. and so you have the makers and you have the sellers. Is that kind of how the program works?
Exactly.
So what does the
Yes.
seller do? Are they going to farmers markets? Are they? I mean, what are they doing? How does that
Yeah,
work?
so it's a mixture, and this is something that we're really um, con continuing to evolve is our actual business model. So
Sure.
initially, it was really all through gatherings. So basically, women would connect with people in their lives, and the women in their lives would host gatherings. So that was
Oh, I got
specifically
it.
it.
This is
So
like
that,
Tupperware. The same
yes,
model. It's
exactly,
Mary
similar,
Kay. It's this type of
exactly.
model. Zeg bags. I remember my wife coming back with all these fantastic Zeg bags.
You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we're expanding. And so there's that. Farmers markets, events, we sell online. So there are women that, are just very social media present. And so they'll sell online. Something that we've just launched, which has been a dream of mine for a while, is fundraisers. So we will connect with philanthropic organizations that need to raise money. Example would be Girl Scouts.
Okay.
So I work with the Girl Scouts. They create a custom bracelet that has a word they want on it, the colors, and then we get it made in Guatemala. They're selling it instead of popcorn or
Sure.
cookies. Not instead of. I don't want people to be nervous that the
Right.
cookies are going to go
No, we
away.
got to have the cookies.
But and then they're paid $8 to $10 per bracelet that they sell, which is a very, very high amount of money for them to make.
So this is a quality.
Versus
This is a quality bracelet.
it absolutely, absolutely. It's so cute. People love them. And then we also just launched a travel program through Threads. So we do incentive trips with the women who sell for us. If they sell a certain amount, they go and travel and visit our partners with us for free or a low buy-in. And so we just launched because these trips are transformative.
I bet.
And so we just launched a travel piece where people can come and travel and have this experience, and women can make money on those trips as well.
This is crazy. So what you're not doing is you're not reinventing things. What you're doing is creating you're doing several things. One, social awareness is
Absolutely.
huge.
Mm-hmm.
Two, solving a problem with, being a piece of the solution for trafficking, because they now have income coming in that they're going, oh, I'm not selling this for 50 cents. I'm selling it for $8. I mean,
Exactly.
that makes a huge impact. That's like major change. And you're teaching women, let's say in the United States, how to represent, how to communicate this cause. So, I mean, bringing people together more from a cause-based, and by the way, there's all these cool products, to me, makes so much sense. Like, you're tying in so many different things, and I think it's brilliant.
Yes. And I'd love to give a quick example and then shift it if you're ready to shift it to dignity, because
I absolutely, I'm always ready to ship dignity. I'm just
you're
fascinated
always
with the
ready.
model. I'm
Yeah.
fascinated
Yeah.
with
Well,
how you've taken this and what you're doing with it.
thank you. And that is what we've done. And I'm very passionate about shifting the current way businesses run. So we did take an established business model and we are improving it and so that it's really aligned with our morals and values.
Yes.
And for us, it's very important that women can tap in and really utilize their gifts and talents to run the business they're meant to run. So instead of initially, which a lot of these, companies, it's a party plan and that's what you do. But then I'm like, wait, there are women that are really business oriented. Let's figure out a way they can go and create partnerships. Okay, there are people, big time introverts that don't want to be in a group.
Right.
And so how do we give them that opportunity? I wanted to go back to the trafficking. So as an example, we just had a campaign over the last few months that, we're so tight with our partners. It's not like these women in Ethiopia or so we just did a free Marta campaign. So basically we knew to the exact product number, how many we'd have to sell so that a woman named Marta can come out of the brothels for good and work with our partner company.
Oh my
So we had
gosh.
to sell 3,500 products, and we were supposed to do it by the end of December, and we actually just did it. So that's literally, she no longer has to work in the brothels. It is just amazing. And so shifting it to dignity and going back to what you were saying around the social awareness, that's one of the things that I've become the most committed to and passionate about, is shifting the way that we talk about people around the world. And I will say that I grew up in a relatively conservative, upper middle class family in Connecticut, hitting the country clubs. And the way a lot of people relate to people in developing countries is more around, we're better than them, we need to help, they need us. And that's just not spreading the message of dignity. So what's very, very important to me and to our team is, in these conversations, there's no, here we are to save the day. It's, I, Kara, get to do this work where I get to earn an income. I get to do it flexibly. I get to do work that makes my soul sing, only because these women show up every day and make these beautiful products.
Wow.
So that's just something that we're really passionate, because it's just a very dangerous belief system.
Sure. So it's not to feel sorry for.
No,
it's to unite with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why we're really prioritizing travel, because it's not travel that people may think of like, okay, we're going to go and kind of look at how people are living and, maybe help build a house or something. It's, no, we go and we meet these women and their kids, and we do dream circles together, and we learn from them, and we share any, experience or wisdom we have. It's just a very equal partnership.
So let's talk about those visits, and let's turn this to leadership.
Great.
What have you learned when it comes to leading? When it comes to leading these initiatives, the people you're meeting, just anything around the leadership topic, because you have a lot to say around leadership, don't you?
Yeah. And the biggest thing that I've learned is just around courage to do what hasn't been done before. And whether that's in the world, like very grandiose idea, or just putting myself out there in a way that I maybe wouldn't have before. And what I love so much about these trips is I get to borrow courage from these women all the time. And we talk about that as well, because there are things that are really scary the first time you do them, and the second and the third, and maybe always. And so if I'm about to embark on something that, where I'm getting my own imposter, who do I think I am? Oh, I'm scared I'm going to mess up. Oh, people are going to judge me. I think about, Marla in Guatemala, and what it took for her to show up to work every day, which was a lot of abuse and shunning. And now, because she continued to do that, her daughter was the first girl to go to school in their whole village and is now graduating from university.
Oh my gosh.
So I know. Joe, I'll send you some pictures after too.
I want to know some other stories. Tell us some other amazing stories.
Okay, good. So we work with women in Ethiopia. Actually, these earrings, you're the only one I think that can see the earrings. But,
no, you're on video. We got you.
Oh,
they can see you.
Well, these are made in Ethiopia.
Okay.
And our partner, Amelset, she talk about this. So basically, when women in rural villages around Ethiopia, the ones that we're talking about specifically, start showing signs of being sick, because HIV is so prevalent there, basically they're shunned from their community, and they're told, they have this idea, they're told that if they make this trek into a mountainous region and bathe in the water there, that they'll be healed of their illness. So they, pick up what they can carry, including their babies, and they leave and they go and they bathe in the water. Well, we do believe in miracles at Threads Worldwide, and bathing in that water is not going to heal everyone of HIV, right? So our partners started a cooperative there that not only brings women in and gives them access to income, but they initially bring them in and they have access to healthcare. They have access to, therapy and counseling, education for their kids, which they didn't have before. And so Amelset said, when she initially got to this area, it's Entoto in Ethiopia, she said the only opportunity was to beg on the streets. And she said that felt worse than she thinks dying would feel. Talk about not feeling any dignity in that moment. And so to go from feeling like you were dead to being invited into a community with people surrounding you that know what you're going through, to have access to income, to have your kids go to school, which was never even, she didn't even know to dream that back in the day.
Wow.
So, I look at these pieces and this is another thing I do. It's funny, I'm not wearing my bracelet that's made of these materials, but you think that story isn't inspiring. Wait till you hear what they're made of. So in Ethiopia, they've had, decades of war.
Yep.
And the ground is covered with bullet casings from all the war conflicts, like artillery shell bullet casings. And the farmers in the neighboring village, while they're, working the land, they'll collect all of those, bring them to the women. They melt it down along with other recycled metals and turn it into just amazing pieces of jewelry.
Wow.
So just that story of transformation for both the women and even the products, something that was so ugly turned into something so beautiful. It's just, that's another thing that I'll wear these pieces when I'm going into something scary and like, come on, I can do it.
Yeah.
I could do it. Yeah. And I want to just share a quick, one story about a woman here in Chicago. Her name is Erin. She was working in corporate America and just in a job that was crushing her soul. And that's not to say that all corporate America jobs do that. In this case, it was. She has two little girls. I was just visiting with them. And she had missed 3 out of the 4 first birthdays of one of her daughters because of travel. She came to a Threads party sort of by accident, never thought she would ever get involved in any sort of social selling type opportunity. And by the end of it, she's like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I want to do this work. And so she was able to leave her full-time pharmaceutical company to work with Threads. Now she works from home. She's with her kids every day. And she's able to, her big message to send is just all around like living a life of design. That's what she's passionate about. So she's one of our top leaders. And so as women are transforming their lives in these developing countries, we have women here in the US who are transforming their lives. And, there's as different as life circumstances are, when you boil it down, there's so much that's the same. And shifting it to dignity again is just, women, people, children, just knowing their worth and trusting themselves and having access to their gifts and talents that make them unique and being able to use those in a way to be a contribution. Like that's all universal. And that's what we get to talk about every day because I'm the luckiest.
Yay. And you have the courage. I love how in borrowing courage from others. I just love that. The ability to borrow courage from others. Dignity by definition means to be worthy of honor and respect. So that's by definition. What we found in most people is they struggle with their own worthiness, right? Especially when you don't have resources.
Absolutely.
Right? What you're doing is you're saying you are worthy and you're allowing them a choice to step up. You're allowing them a vehicle to step up. So now it's their choice because now there was no vehicle before. There was nothing, I can get 50 cents for these if that's what they were doing at the time. Right. And
absolutely.
And now that you're giving them a choice, you're giving them a voice and people are going, wow, look at this ordinary person doing the extraordinary, which now reminds us that maybe we ain't so ordinary after all.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I think
everyone's extraordinary. We have the power. We have the power to do something. And sometimes, and most times, every one of us needs a helping hand along the way.
Absolutely. We are all extraordinary. I mean, we all are as divine beings or as, human beings. And what people, something that I talk about all the time is, women, or not, people have unique gifts and talents and what I believe is a purpose, like as they're born. The problem is the vast majority of people they don't have the freedom to access it, whether they're, have no money and no resources, or even if they have all the resources in the world, but have never been taught to dig in, to know themselves, to be their authentic selves. They're born into a specific system that they're just trying to fit
Right.
into their whole lives. So
And they're being programmed from what
exactly.
their parents did. And
Exactly.
I always say, it's like you can't read your label from inside your own bottle.
Oh my gosh.
I
love that.
So what you're doing is, people don't walk around with a mirror and then you show up and you have this mirror saying, look at you. I see you.
Absolutely.
Right. And now they're being
Absolutely.
seen where before they've never been seen. And I was just doing a virtual speech, because that's the thing you do now.
That's what you do. 2022.
And I talked about, there are words that are most powerful words any human being can hear. And there are words even more powerful than I love you. I believe the more powerful than I love you is I believe in you.
I believe in you.
I believe in you.
Yes.
Belief is when someone else believes in you, what you're saying is you are worthy, you are talented, you are extraordinary. And the person reflects and goes, what, kind of like when you said, why me?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You get humble. You're like, they see something in me. Maybe there is something in me. I believe in you. So now what happens is that person gets triggered into I want to prove it to you. Because not from an aggressive way, but from a very loving, accepting way. I want to prove it to you because I don't want to let you down. If you see the greatness in me, I don't want to let you down. And that's when we say, sharpening people. And you're right, exploring your purpose really comes from your dignity. We believe that because we pull out purposes of people all over. We do it remotely. My purpose is the confident architect as far as what I do. And the confident architect is I'm able to take organizational health, right, of just people. That's my area of expertise. And I can orchestrate. We talked about your little retreat you're going to do. And I gave you, here's what you're going to do. Right? That's a little architecture. That's a situation. That's how much you know. Let's just do that. I think you're going to see benefit from that. And I can tell a situation and say, here's how you bring a son and daughter together.
Yes.
The two siblings. Here's how you bring a parent to child together. Try this, try that. Like I just have this ability to put together. Now my purpose in life is to teach acceptance in an unaccepting world. That's like my personal mission, to teach. How do I accept this person who I do not understand?
Yeah.
How do I accept them? And you got to experience Dignify. Now a lot of our listeners know about Dignify. So I just, if you don't mind, I want to share with you your unique strengths that Dignify revealed to you. Because this is part of your purpose. This feeds into your purpose. This is like your pistons, right? It's not quite your purpose, but it feeds into it. So everyone, share. Her number one is fun. If you can't feel that energy, let's experience it together. And the strength of fun is going, I don't know, let's try it. Why not? And so that motivation helped you, and your friend helped you, right, with the encouragement of giving the idea. But why not? I don't have to have all the answers. I just have to have a belief system.
Yep.
Right? And I have to have the cause.
Absolutely.
And then number two, inspirational, is totally mission focused.
Mm-hmm.
So what dings the bells of your heart is making a serious impact. And you're doing that. And you put making it better one step at a time. So you have the ability to just help people walk that path one step at a time. So part of your purpose could be helping people walk the path.
Yep.
Prosperity, or you have sympathetic. So that's also empathetic, the ability to put yourself in other people's shoes. Empathy is a very powerful emotional intelligent trait. And you feel what other people feel. So as you walk through the world, you can sense what I'm feeling without me saying a word.
Mm-hmm.
That's a superpower. And musical, I love it. But musical has another meaning besides just that you love music, and that it's really connected with deep thinking about things, a deeper look into things, which clearly is what you're doing. This a deeper look into what's really going on in their lives. Mm-hmm. That is very similar to deep thinker, which is another dignity trait. And then you have great sense of humor. I love to laugh and make people laugh. That's your magnetism. So that's a natural ability that you have to bring people to you, and you're safe.
Mm.
And all of
Oh,
these
I
feed
love
into
that.
your purpose. But that is truly remarkable. And when you see the work you've done, and I look at these top 5 dignity traits, and I would love to see your partners as well, because I'm sure
Sure.
someone's got like the more organized side, and someone's got the, big picture driver side, and you got all these like complementary, right? Complementary
Absolutely.
deals going on that created something absolutely remarkable. So I not only want to honor you, I want to honor your besties and pulling together your dignity traits, which everyone has, and bringing them to life in such a beautiful, remarkable way that is producing such a great outcome.
Yes, I love that. And something I want to say that I'm extra excited about this tool is because that is true. And Angela and I have run into plenty of issues, and like, I'll come in and be like, and this idea,
Right, and this
and
idea.
this, and what she hears is like, I'm going to have to figure out how to do all of those things. So
Yes.
as you can imagine, it can get pretty stressful. And if you don't understand that about one another, you can really dim one another's lights.
Yes.
And that is not what we need in the world right now. So something I love about your tool specifically is how simple you make it with the do's and don'ts, where you will come out, and instead of, when we understand this on a bigger level, you can understand it. But when you really simplify it with certain statements of just like, don't, something that really is hurtful to me in my spirit is when
Right.
you talk down to me, or when you
Yes.
do X, Y, or Z. So just having these simple, 4 or 5 statements, for me, that really clarifies it in a way that I can use from day to day.
Well, we get treated in life the way we teach others to treat us. That's something I've realized. Because I used to say, they don't know. Well, did you tell them you don't like that? Do they even know? Because they're
Yes.
just doing them. A lot of times these dignity violations happen completely unaware of the other person. The other person likes you to get to the point. She's like, so no, just answer my question, right? Because they value
Absolutely.
getting to the point. And it's like, you just violated my listen to me. And they're like, what?
Absolutely.
I'm just talking. All right.
I
I don't want
know.
you to
I'm
talk.
gonna have my ex-husband do this, Joe. This is gonna change everything. Yay.
Okay, we're not in that circuit yet, but we are trying to spread dignity to the world, and you're definitely spreading dignity to the world, and that's why we wanted to have you as our guest. So I just want to thank you for being our guest today. You're truly remarkable, and remind everyone again how to contact you and how to check that wonderful merchandise and so that their
Sure.
dollars can help others. Go ahead. What is that?
Yes. So the website is www.threadsworldwide.com, THREADS. And if you want to get to me specifically, you can email me at Kara, KARA, at threadsworldwide.com.
Awesome. Kara, thank you and for everything you're doing. This is another Dignity Dialogue, and we'll see you next month. See ya.
Bye, Joe. Bye, everyone.
This has been the Dignity Dialogue with Joe Kittinger. Talk at you later.